And this is where he dresses up like Dexter, Kyle. He's wearing the long, like it's not a Henley, but it's like a long sleeve, like thermal shirt with the sleeves pushed up. He's got black gloves on and he's got cargo pants on. It's the exact Dexter outfit, Kyle. He just cosplays as Dexter for the end of this movie.
Great.
Slash also kind of Kim Possible. Katie was like, is he cosplaying Kim Possible?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
100%.
Hello and welcome back to the 206th episode, Good, Bad, or Bad Bad, Show Watch Terrible Movies, Tell You You Should Too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shilligo, joining you once again, as always, with the other host of this illustrious show, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle.
Why are we back to another like Egyptian themed film?
So that so I thought about that as soon as I picked it. I was like, wait a second, we just did a mummy movie. But here's the thing. I don't know. I have two words for you, Kyle. Bo Yachty.
You thought we had a true auteur last time. Let me tell you about Bo Yachty.
Let me tell you about Mr. Bo Yachty. The writer, director, and star of this movie. Kyle, this movie was a journey for me because I kept learning things as we went, and I don't know if you had a similar journey, but I'll maybe able to explain some things for you.
I felt like this was about 2, maybe 3 films wrapped into one from previous projects.
Yeah, so we'll get there, but yeah, I think this is kind of the third film in a series, but it's not really at the same time. We'll get there. It's very confusing, but we'll get there. The film we're talking about today is Unearthed, The Curse of Nephyths. Something like that.
It was like the goddess, the queen of the underworld or whatever.
Yeah, they say like of the afterlife or something. I don't know exactly, but we'll get into that.
Nephyths.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, this is a 2018 film written by, directed, and starring Bo Yachty. Looked him up. He's made quite a few films at this point. But the thing he's maybe most known for, which will not surprise you if you watch this movie and look at him, Kyle, for 8 episodes, he was the stunt double for Michael C. Hall on Dexter.
Okay.
And we'll get there. The end of this movie, he just cosplays as Dexter.
Yes.
It's insane. We'll get there.
Where did you find this? Was this recommended to you?
I don't know how. So this was one where I was going through my things. Like I have a bookmark.
Brian,
tab.
who threatened you?
So I don't remember if this was like an Adam Berardi recommendation, maybe, because here's the thing.
Well, it takes place in Arizona, specifically the Apache Junction Superstitious Mountain area.
Yes, which is literally exactly where they filmed the Pocket Man and Cargo Boy movies.
Yeah.
And literally this movie stars one of the people from the Pocket Man and Cargo Boy movies. We'll get to it. But yes, this is an Arizona film. Bo Yachty lives in Arizona, is part of that circle, at least to some capacity. Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Agent Decker is in this movie. Agent fucking Decker. We'll get to it. But so yeah, but we'll get into what the premise of this weird ass movie is. Open up production logo, Lone Gunslinger Production.
And man, what a production logo! He was so proud of that. We had to stay on it for a while.
We milk it for sure. Then in the first moment that just completely made my brain kind of like, wait, what's going on here? The film opens up. We get an establishing shot of a house in Arizona during the day. Then we see a time lapse of a sunset. Then we see the same exterior of the house at night. And I was like, all right, brilliant use of editing already. Why did we open during the day and then watch time pass and now we're back at, all right, fine. Then we come in and there's some lady watching TV in her house and there's a guy stalking her. He's like walking around looking through the windows at her and
Yes.
stuff. And she's watching something on TV, which I imagine she's watching one of the older movies of Bo Yachty, I think, based on what we're...
That's what I was getting at. This,
Yeah.
this is where I was getting like, this is like 3 films rolled together. Because there's this, which this whole scene is so disconnected from everything.
Everything else, all it does is it establishes that well, it will establish a thing later, which is we will discover that our main character, I always just called him Bo Yachty. I think his name's Don Danger or some stupid shit. I don't know.
Don Danger's a great name.
It's something like, it's Slayer, maybe Don Slayer, like literally might be his name. It's something absurd.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I'm just passing by.
But he, and I just called him Bo Yachty because that name is insane and I loved it. He has like a superpower, which is that he can see the future.
Yes.
But that is not the journey you go on in this movie. The journey you go on in this movie is one of complete confusion. At least me telling you right there that he has premonition powers makes this movie infinitely more easy to understand than it would if you did not know that going into the movie.
No, because knowing that, why did all the shit happen the way it did in this film?
It didn't happen, Kyle.
Oh, that was all premonition?
Yeah, and that's the experience I had of like, wait, what is okay, we watched this scene play out. She's watching TV. The guy's like stalking around.
Thank God you explained that to me, Brian. Otherwise, I wouldn't have thought of a single way Bo Yachty could have squeezed a 30-minute story into a fucking hour.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's going on. So we watch this whole scene played out. He stalks around. He opens the door. He comes into her house. We see him. He's got blood all over his face. We're like, what is going on here? Is he like a cannibal? And yes, I guess he is. Because then he sneaks up on her and he fucking eats her, Kyle.
Yum.
He... he grabs her and he eats her. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Some very upsetting mouth chewing sounds as he chomps down on her. Then we cut and we watch Bo Yachty wake up. And I was like, oh, classic bad movie stuff. We spend like 10 minutes watching him get up, make coffee, look at the alarm clock. Yep. Then he sits for like 10 minutes and stares at his computer.
I thought it was kind of weird that the coffee making the coffee gargling noise is the same sound almost as the guy eating the woman.
Yeah. I don't think because it's not a match cut. That would have been a good match cut. Mm-hmm. That would have actually been a clever match cut, but no, it's like we first cut to him waking up. But here's the thing. You will then realize later, oh, him waking up was important. It wasn't just us cutting to him waking up. No. We'll get there. But so he's doing research and we don't know what he's researching, but he looks at a map and it's like Apache Junction and it's literally like exactly the park area where we stayed for Pocket Man and Cargo Boy when we went to Arizona to film. It was pretty crazy. And it's right next to Superstition Wilderness / Mountains, which are right there. And then we just watch him. I was like, can we move on? We watch him stare at the computer for like 5 minutes, and we have no context for what's going on here. Then we cut, and he says like, gotcha, or found you, or something like that. Then we cut, and some old man finds an Egyptian statue next to a cactus on his land. Yes. And is like, ooh, look, a cactus. Then we cut, and I guess he calls somebody. He calls like an archaeology school or something, because then we're introduced to Jennifer, and she's our other main character along with Bo Yachty for the most part. And she is like an archaeology student, I think, studying Egyptian whatever. And she gets a call from her professor, Dr. James Rossi.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Professor. How's Turkey?
Incredible.
Who is just a man reading his script for the very first time on camera in this call.
Göbekli Tepe continues to astonish us. Engineering for a 12 to 14,000-year-old structure defies what archaeology has revealed to us thus far.
Clearly has the script up on the computer screen that he is recording the webcam footage of himself
and just
on,
looking at it
and just reading the script. It's incredible.
I can't wait to see it for myself.
Well, we'll get you over here as soon as the grant is approved.
And he explains to her, this guy on this farm says he found an ancient Egyptian artifact, blah, blah, blah. You should go check it out because he's still overseas somewhere in like Turkey or something.
I thought he was in like Brazil or something.
Well, he says he's at, and I don't remember where this is. He says he's at Göbekli Tepe, which is like a very famous archaeological site somewhere. I wanted to say it was like in Syria or Turkey, but maybe not. Okay. I could be wrong. I don't know. Sure. But that's where he is. And so but he's like, go check this thing out. And he says to her at the end, he's like, maybe your great grandfather's legend is true. And you're like, what?
Head over and take a look for yourself.
I'll contact the rancher this morning.
I have to get back to site. Let me know what you find out. Maybe your great grandfather's legend is true.
Okay, I guess we'll get to that, and we will get to that eventually. Yeah. And just every interaction in this movie is it sounds like aliens interacting. These isn't how people talk. I'm just gonna keep putting in shot after shot of interactions of people talking like complete robots. It's
human.
Well, I was gonna round up some cattle this morning. You suppose you could come tomorrow about 8 a.m.?
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
Call me Teddy.
Okay, thank you, Teddy.
See you tomorrow.
Then we get another time-lapse shot of the sun setting, and then we get another, and then we cut back, and it's and we're watching the opening of the movie again, Kyle. Mm-hmm. It is the and shot for shot identical.
Yes,
it is the opening of the movie. I thought I had clicked something and fucked up
too,
and like restarted the movie.
I had to look over the timeline.
Yes.
And see where I was.
And I was like, oh no, we're actually like 15 minutes in. Okay, I guess we're just doing this again because it's the exact opening of the movie again. And I was like, what is happening here? And then, but as this guy's stalking around, Boyati shows up.
Yes.
In his car. And he starts walking around. And he also has the coolest axe, Kyle. The coolest mall ninja axe you will ever see.
Oh my God,
it's
this thing.
Incredible. And
this
then,
woman, just like last time, getting stalked, guy up his door. Blood in the mouth and everything.
And then right as he gets up to attack her, though, Boyati shows up. And beats the shit out of him and kills him with an axe.
You just got Boyati.
Boyati! Boyati is a great name for it's like Booyah, except Boyati. But he beats the shit out of him and kills him with an axe.
Thank you.
And I was like, that's not what happened, though. So what I thought, because originally what I thought we were doing is I thought we were going to watch this, and it was going to be that the first time we saw it, everything played out the same, but we're seeing it a second time, and that what we thought happened the first time isn't actually what happened, and that like she didn't get killed, and that Boyati saved her both times. But no, what we will actually find out is that what the first time we saw, and I only figured this out later when this happens a second time, was his dream premonition of her being killed, and then he goes and intercedes and stops it. He's like a superhero who can see the future, basically. It's insane, Kyle. It's,
Sorry about the mess.
Then we cut, and now Jennifer's going to investigate the statue. And as she's going to investigate the statue, we then cut for the first time to, I think, Nephyths, right? Or Nephyths.
Yes.
Who is the Egyptian queen lady.
Of the dead or the underworld or something like that.
And it's just her and two other women.
Yes. Now, was this the part where the millennium item was hanging on the wall?
Yes, I think this is where we see it. Yes, I think this is where we see it.
I saw that. I had to stop it and send a comment to Brian. It's one of the Millennium items from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
It's just on the wall because they needed something vaguely Egyptian.
Is it literally from Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes, it's from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh's pull stuff from Egyptian
So that is
lore,
the
right?
Millennium Ring.
Okay.
It is what... Get a little nerdy here. It's what Bakura wore. That's his Millennium item. So each of these Millennium items contains the soul of like an old pharaoh, and they possess the people who wear them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, I recognized it when you pulled it, but then I was like, but I wasn't sure if maybe like it was just an Egyptian thing.
No, that's straight up from the anime.
Okay, fantastic. But they're in this room, and this is the only place these actresses are. They exist in this room. They filmed 8 reaction shots of them looking at this little glowing pink triangle, like on a plinth in the like a platform in the middle of this room. They're in like some like tomb or something like that. I don't know. We don't really ever see the room. It's only like close-ups of them for the most part, other than the shot of the Yu-Gi-Oh thing on the wall. But they're staring at this red glowing triangle, and apparently that allows them to like see out into the world.
Yes.
And it almost feels like they're in the statue.
Yes. Well, that's the thing we got at the end.
At the end, we'll get to that, but holy shit, I don't want to spoil that because that shit blew my mind. I was like, what? But yeah, it seems like they're almost in the like trapped in the statue. But Jennifer's like looking at the statue, and they're somehow able to like entrance her with the statue, because every time she's looking at it, we get this like pink, like the goo image, like the goo effect over the screen, and that's like them being like entranced by it or whatever. And then she like passes out, and we don't see what happened, but she like falls over on the ground, maybe dead, maybe whatever, we don't know. Then Boyati wakes up again, and this is where I was like, wait a second, is this what we're doing? Oh my god. Well, he wakes up in his bed completely out of focus, like just reshoot the shot, man, because I know what this is Boyati by himself in his apartment filming himself wake up.
You can't rack focus by yourself, bud.
You don't even need to rack focus. It doesn't move. He just have it in focus. Yeah. You shoot it, and then when you watch it back, you go, oh, that's out of focus. You dial the focus, you shoot it again. You can shoot it 5 times, and then one of them will be in focus. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, just, you know.
Insane. But completely out of focus. He wakes up, and again, this is where I realized, oh my god, we're doing premonition dreams, but they just did a terrible job of communicating that. Because I was like, wait, can he travel through time? No, he just sees the future. Then we go back to Jennifer arriving at the ranch to see the statue, which is what we had just watched previously, but now we're actually doing it. And then, but so she's arriving to do that. Meanwhile, we cut, and I will never understand why this is the establishing shot for this guy, but this is where we're introduced to Agent Decker.
Yes.
Who plays like an antique collector.
Yeah.
That's the last of it.
That's all from the Mexico load?
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to finish up the rest of the inventory for me.
Sure.
But why is his office in a construction site, Kyle?
Why is his office also clearly a fucking garage?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's the interior is like a garage full of just random shit. The exterior, they show a building completely under construction.
Yeah.
And the whole time, and I actually wonder if what it is because while they were filming that stuff, they had construction sounds in their audio, and so they just came up with an excuse of like, oh, he's actually working in like yeah, like literally wondering, because then they play construction sounds through the whole thing, and I'm like, what? It's so strange.
Well, that's nothing. It's been there for a while. I sold it today.
Oh.
But like his office is so clearly somebody's garage.
Yeah.
It's got like tools off to the side. You have the little switches for the garage doors and everything. I'm sure the floor is made of concrete.
Yeah, they got oil spills on the. It's so weird. But this is like his office where he's like, and they never explain what he does. But I think he like sells antiques or sells relics or something. They do a terrible job of establishing that. But it's Agent Decker, as we talked about from the Pocket Man and Cargo Boy movies. And then he's there, and then some girl, his blonde, like assistant or whatever, shows up and brings him some stuff and like sets it on his desk. And then it's like she's like, here's some stuff or whatever. I don't understand what's going on here. He's like, thanks, I'll sell this stuff or whatever. He leaves, and after he leaves, she says something and then like gestures at her neck, and she has like a wound on her neck.
What?
That will never be relevant,
no,
will it?
I was like, oh, okay, what is that for?
I just realized what it is, Kyle. It's because that's from a movie before this. She is the character from the movie that comes before this. And I say movie, so I want to get this all out of the way here. This is I realized later that this is like the third story in this series, but it's the only one that's a full feature-length movie.
Yeah.
The first two are both 8-minute shorts.
Oh.
That's why we never watched. That's why I like didn't. And the titles are completely unrelated. There's no. It's not like the first one is called Unearthed something and then Unearthed something and then this one. The first one is called like, I can't even remember. The second one is called like Call the Babysitter or something like that. And it's about like a babysitter, I think this blonde lady, getting attacked by like a killer or something. And Bo Yachty, as the same guy, like shows up and saves her, I think is what happens in that one. Or something like that. So I think the neck scar thing is something that happened in the previous movie.
Yeah.
But again, it's not a real movie. It's like an 8-minute short film. So like whatever. This is the only one that's like an actual feature-length film. And even then it's not really a feature-length film. Then we cut back to Jennifer investigating the relic that she found, and they're talking about how like her great grandfather, that potentially the statue came in the 1920s because her great grandfather Sir Arthur Hicks supposedly found a secret tomb under the Sphinx.
How'd you get to my ranch in Arizona?
Well, if the legend is true, then it was brought here in the 1920s.
Legend?
Famed English explorer Sir Arthur Hicks discovered a mysterious chamber underneath the left foot of the Sphinx in Egypt.
And then brought some of that stuff back to the U.S. And it's like this like mystery legend within her family or whatever. It's insane. Also, the editing through this whole movie is atrocious. There's constant black frames between like shots. There's constant, the audio is, the quality is just terrible and everywhere.
Gary?
Yeah?
Did that come in this morning?
Well, that's nothing. It's been there for a while. I sold it today.
Did you notice this? Like half the movie, half the shots in the movie, the bottom half of the shot has this weird pulsing artifact over. You didn't know. It's like the whole second half of the movie. Every shot has this weird.
Are you sure this wasn't your player?
No. Well, I don't know. I watched it on Tubi. But it wasn't every shot. Half the shots, the bottom had this artifact, and I'll show you after we're done recording. But like,
I had those black frames as well, but I thought it was from the player being like, hey, we got a commercial.
No. Some of those black frames are just bad edits, I'm pretty sure. But this artifact thing, it almost looks like tracking. It's so, I'll show clips of it because I recorded it. Well, it's insane. I don't know what was
Talk
going on.
About a term that has been used for
I know,
kind.
but that's kind of what it's so weird. And it was happening nonstop. I don't know what, to me, it almost looked like they had a weird like adjustment layer that was supposed to be doing an effect that they accidentally left over a bunch of shots in the movie, or the footage when it was captured, some weird thing was. I'll show you. It's very strange. But I constantly noticed it.
Sir Arthur Hicks was my great-grandfather.
Runs in the family, doesn't it? So, is it from the tomb of a mummy?
So then she's looking at the artifact and she's got to like taking pictures of it and stuff. And then Agent Decker shows up. And again, this is what happened earlier that we saw. Agent Decker shows up. He gets possessed. And they have him like knock her unconscious, I think.
Vodka.
And take the
statue
idol,
or whatever, the idol. Because then she wakes up and Bo Yachty finds her. He's like, oh, what happened? And she's getting up and she has like a bloody lip and she's like, oh, I don't know, somebody knocked me unconscious. And I love she turns and she looks down and the statue's gone. And she turns to him and she goes, they took the artifact.
Oh my God. Took the artifact.
And I'm like, he would have no idea what the fuck you're talking. It's just some random guy that found you like, they took the artifact. And he's like, what? I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so Agent Decker is possessed by the Egyptian ladies now. Because then we go back to the strip mall. wherever, whatever this, I say strip mall, it's a place that was under construction that's just like wood or whatever, and then his garage that his office is in. I don't know.
I like the idea of his office being wedged in between like an H&R Block and like a Sports Clips.
Yeah, it's so weird, dude. I was like, what is this company? Like, what is going on here? Because then she's like, he says like, I sold that today about the statue. And I'm like, so I guess he's like an antique dealer.
Well, she sees it later and she's like, didn't you sell it?
Yeah, I don't understand, Kyle.
Did that come in this morning?
Well, that's nothing. It's been there for a while. I sold it today.
Oh.
And also the office is in an active construction zone for some reason. That's very important. Then we cut back to Jennifer's office. She goes back to her office, and I love, did you notice this? We cut to a shot. She's at her computer. Her laptop's up like on her desk. It's like on a book. And they just leave this shot in where she very clearly has the script for the film just up on the computer in front of her. Like that's what it is. 100% what it is. I think they're like, people will just assume it's like
a report or notes.
Yeah, or like notes. But no, man. It's in Courier. It's in Courier New, and it's
justified.
Yes, it's for you. There's only one thing that looks like that, and that is a movie script. It's so fucking funny. She goes and looks through this like chest on her thing and finds something in it. I can't remember what she finds. Something relevant to her grandfather. A notebook, I think, that has like
the journal.
Yeah, I think it's the journal that has like the directions in it or whatever. And I love but my other thing is that this office, they so clearly, all of these locations, like Decker's office is just like somebody's garage with a random shit on the walls. This office is clearly like a closet at a university that they like let them use. And so they set deck it with like, it's supposed to be her like archaeology student office. So she has a few like Egyptian books on the desk next to her, but then she has a whole bookcase behind her that's just empty except for a VHS set of Johnny Carson TV show tapes for some reason.
That's great.
I was like, why is that? It's so weird. It's so weird. Oh, it's so funny though. Then we get a little bit of, and this is where I started to realize maybe there's some previous history here, because we find out that the blonde lady who works for Agent Decker like knows and is friends with Bo Yachty.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is? And then again, this is where I looked it up and I was like, okay, this is a sequel. That's what's going on here.
Hey, Hannah. What?
Those feelings I told you about, they're happening again.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, I was just...
Good.
We find out that the Egyptian lady need Jennifer's blood because Jennifer has the blood of Sir Arthur, whatever.
And you need to, you sacrifice the blood of people who have disrupted the tomb?
Yeah, basically, like, since he broke open the tomb and took the stuff out, they need to kill somebody with his blood in order to, like, come back.
You mustn't read from the book.
Yeah, essentially.
The lifeblood of the man who opened my chamber flows through the veins of that girl in the desert. Her blood is required to complete my transformation.
I don't know, man. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Then this is where they get another call from, they go into Jennifer's office.
I was in the neighborhood, so I stopped by.
The pig's lady here too?
How you feel?
I'm okay. A little sore, I guess.
And somehow the Egyptian people know that Bo Yachty is at Jennifer's office. I don't know how they can see him there, but they're able to see him, and they tell Agent Decker, like, go get him. You got to go kill Bo Yachty.
That man knows where the girl is. I can sense it. Use your slave to bring him to me.
Yes, my goddess.
Then Dr. James Rossi calls. This is the professor.
Yes.
And he calls. He's like, Jennifer, is everything okay? I heard you were attacked.
Jennifer, is everything okay? I heard you were attacked.
Because she got knocked down in the desert or whatever. So then she's talking to him, and then we get a flashback, I think. He's talking about when him and her father like went looking for artifacts
Yeah,
with another
with
guy.
another guy, and I guess that guy is
that
the
third
thief,
guy.
right?
Yes, he ended up finding the artifact and then like dying in the desert. It's a guy named Roman is the other guy.
In 1972, your father, our friend Roman Garcia, and I were told the story and went out in search of the object.
And he finds the statue, but then he dies, I think. And it doesn't make any sense. I love that. So it's all in black and white because it's supposed to be like a flashback. But then we get the one shot where the guy gets like taken over by the statue. And because we needed the pink on the screen, they switched to color for that one shot.
We never heard from him again.
In the middle of their black and white flashback, we just get one shot of color.
Just add it as a fucking adjustment layer
Nope.
and mask it.
No, it's got to be. We got to go to color so that we can see the pink stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't understand what was going on. Kyle just goes into color for one shot. It's great.
So this thing, why is it so dangerous?
I don't believe we've met.
Oh, this is Don. He's with us. He found me after I was attacked.
Nice to meet you, Dawn.
Then Decker, I think Decker's blonde assistant also gets taken over, and he gives her a gun so that she can go kill Boyati, I assume, or whatever. But then Jennifer and Boyati are going to go out into the desert to try to find the statue or something. I can't remember. There's this great shot of them standing in a parking lot as they're like talking about what they're going to do. And every single shot in this movie, the framing is just a complete mystery to me. Like this shot, they're standing in this parking lot and they're just in the bottom of the frame, and we can just see like a giant empty parking lot behind them for no reason. Then we cut to a terribly framed close-up. Then we cut back to the two shot and it's framed slightly differently for some reason. I'm like, what is happening? It's so weird, dude. It's so weird.
Who was that?
It was Santa Bennett over in Antiques.
I should just head over there.
Wait a minute, the guy, I don't...
Yeah, but we don't have enough time to wait. I'll just head over right now. Okay? I'll meet you over there.
All right.
Then Jennifer goes to investigate the construction office, Decker's office for some reason.
Yeah, when nobody's there, she just walks right in.
And she finds the statue.
Yeah.
It's there, but then Decker shows up and just punches. She punches him.
She punches.
Does not affect him because he's Agent Decker.
Shazam!
And he just knocks her unconscious. And then this is where I got to the point where I was like, this makes no sense. And then Boyati shows up on screen again. And I was like, Kyle, I think what we may have here is a John Hamm in 30 Rock situation. Have you seen?
No.
Anyways, where John Hamm's character in 30 Rock he's this very handsome guy. He dates Tina Fey's character briefly, but he's so handsome that he has gone through his whole life never realizing that he sucks at everything because everybody is just super nice to him and tells him he's amazing because he's so handsome.
It's been a long time since college, huh?
What do you mean?
Excuse me, do you give lessons?
And I was like, I kind of think that might be what's going on with Boyati here. Boyati is like a muscular, very handsome guy. And I think he thinks that he's like an amazing filmmaker. And nobody has been like, hey, man, you have no idea how to make a movie. I don't know. But it's so good. Because then we just watch him aimlessly jog around the desert for like 5 minutes while he
does not have the same appeal as Neil Breen.
No, not at all. And this felt 100% like I need to fill time, so I'm going to take my camera to the desert and film myself running around for 10 minutes. But he just then finds a dagger and maybe this is set up in a previous movie. He
finds the dagger of Osiris. How do we know it's the dagger of Osiris?
He's got a note that's is there
also the Nepher?
Oh yes, we cut to her and she goes,
he has the dagger of Osiris.
The dagger of Osiris.
Yeah, that's true. But it also
I don't know why that was suddenly like Irish. He has the dagger of Osiris.
It has a note from Sir Arthur Hicks or whatever that's like, oh, in case shit goes down, you might need this dagger. I guess that was in the journal or something. I don't know. Then we cut, and this is where it gets really, really confusing. We cut to the desert. The blonde lady, or he's in the desert. The blonde lady, the assistant, Agent Decker's assistant, shows up with the gun and points it at Bo Yachty, and it's like,
now she's
under control.
of
Yes, of the Egyptian. She's like, I'm gonna kill you, and then he's like, no, remember something.
Remember.
And she remembers.
Put the gun down, Hannah.
The previous movie that we didn't watch. And this is
probably the babysitter one.
Yes,
right?
this is from Call the Babysitter, where there's like some weird creepy guy in her house or whatever.
Fight it, Hannah. Fight it.
And he saved her, and this is able to like pull her out of it enough to not shoot him. So she turns the gun on herself.
And then we get a shot of a gun
stock
firing.
footage. Yes, we cut to stock footage of gun firing over like a black background. And I was like, oh, did she kill herself? No. I guess she shot it in the air. I don't know what we're supposed to get out of that. Because then we cut and she's fine. Bo ties her up in the passenger seat of his car.
Yeah. And then we cut. And that's the most infuriating part.
Yes.
Is we cut to another scene.
Yes.
Because it
makes no sense, guys. It makes no sense. Because then we cut. I was like, what is happening? What is happening? We cut. And then she just gets out of the car.
Yeah.
Awaken.
She's just out of the car. She's untied. She's out of the car. And I'm like, what? What is happening? Meanwhile, Decker and her tie Jennifer to a fence.
Not just a fence. She's tied to the gate.
Like a cattle gate?
Yeah, to a cattle gate. So it's like moving.
What are you mumbling about?
Honored for what?
Your sacrifice will complete Nephyths' transition from the underworld to her throne here on Earth.
There is one part where she's like, whoa, she's like swinging around on it or whatever. It's so good. So yes, and they're gonna sacrifice Jennifer. There's an eclipse happening, coming, because they have to sacrifice her during the eclipse, like the blood eclipse or whatever, and that'll bring back the Egyptian lady.
And there's actually footage of an eclipse happening.
Yeah, they got some stock footage of an eclipse. Yeah.
You think it's stock footage?
Yeah,
okay.
That would be my guess.
Because here's the thing: this came out in 2018.
Yeah, they could have done.
2017 was a total solar eclipse.
That's true. They could have filmed it potentially. My guess would be it's stock footage, but who knows?
How dare you insult Bo Yachty's ability to do his own?
You never know. That's fair. Anyway, so they we like get this big speech where they like go back and forth and like they're yelling at each other and she's like gagged and they ungag her and she yells at them, blah blah blah.
You don't understand.
You have no idea. Keep quiet.
And then eventually they kill her.
Yeah.
The eclipse comes and they slice her throat and they kill her.
Her blood shall set you free. Her blood shall set you free. Your body with you. We're all your bodyguards. Your foe has fallen.
And then we cut back to the
car that she was tied up in the passenger seat.
And Bo Yachty wakes up in the driver's seat. Why was he asleep, Kyle? Kyle, why did he tie her up and then get in the driver's seat and go,
do you think Bo Yachty's just you think his character is narcoleptic? And it's like, oh, that's how he always knows what's going on, because he's narcoleptic. He's sleeping all the time.
It's the only thing that makes sense, because I lost my mind when we cut back and he wakes up in the driver's seat. I'm like, why did you go to sleep? It's the middle of the day.
He does 3 things. He sleeps, he gets jacked, and he kills people.
Oh, it's so funny. But then he realizes she's gone, so he's got to go save. And he
gets his bitching gloves on.
And this is where he dresses up like Dexter, Kyle. He's wearing the long, it's not a Henley, but it's like a long sleeve, like thermal shirt with the sleeves pushed up. He's got black gloves on, and he's got cargo pants on. It's the exact Dexter outfit, Kyle. He just cosplays as Dexter for the end of this movie.
That's great.
/ also kind of Kim Possible. Katie was like, is he cosplaying Kim Possible?
Yeah, 100%.
Kinda, yeah.
100%.
But oh my god, I was dying. But I love he has the dagger shoved in his belt and then the axe also in his belt. So he's just got these medieval weapons, like these mall ninja weapons, tucked into his belt. And he's sneaking through the desert, trying to get to them. And then he finally goes up and he's able to save her just in time. He stops, he like hits Agent Decker right as he's about to sacrifice him. We get a sweet close-up and he's got like a cross on his gloves. I guess he's like a Christian Avenger. I don't fucking know. That's nothing is ever mentioned of that at all, but he's got a cross on his gloves that he's wearing. And I was losing it at this point, dude. I was like, this is incredible. And then the blonde is going to kill Bo Yadi again because they're still under the influence of the Egyptian goddess lady. But right as she's about to kill her, I guess Jennifer's just able to untie herself and knocks the blonde unconscious and saves Bo Yadi just in time. And I love, they're like, there's this incredible shot after they knock them both out. They both turn and they look up at the sun, and as the eclipse is getting closer, and the camera, it's just a hold on the two shot of them both looking for like 3 seconds, and then they go, "Destroy the statue!"
Destroy the statue.
It's so awkward.
It's great. That's great.
It's so good.
He starts wailing on it with the axe.
He's like,
oh, this shitty mall ninja axe isn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Let me whip out the mall ninja dagger.
He's like, maybe the dagger.
The dagger
will
from Cyrus.
Yes.
My favorite thing about this mall ninja dagger is it's the wavy like assassin thing.
Yeah.
He pulls out this ancient relic of Egyptian time that he pulls out and clearly stamped on the fucking like just before the tang it says China or like
steel made in China.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible, dude. It's incredible. And then he starts stabbing the statue with the knife. And then in my favorite moment, maybe in the movie, he stabs it. And then his hand
comes out
up through the red triangle thing that the Egyptian ladies were looking at. And the dagger is there. And they're like, ah! It's so good. And this, I guess, destroys her because then she's like, ah, and I guess, yeah, that's the end of that. Like it all collapses or whatever. And then that breaks the spell on the blonde and Agent Decker, and they stand up and they're like,
yeah, that was weird.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Sorry, we almost killed you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they like, let's get out of here. And they walk into the sunset, but they couldn't even do that right. So we have to do a really awkward digital zoom to keep them center frame for like the last like 3 seconds.
It's called the warp stabilizer, Brian.
No, they do a digital push in. Looks terrible. And that's the end of the movie. And I could see an argument that this is not good bad, but in my opinion, I felt like it was good bad.
It has all the qualities of
Yes.
good bad. The reusing footage constantly to push yourself to the hour though.
Yes,
that's draining.
Yes, it is a little draining, but I actually found that fascinating because you're like the journey you go on when you don't know what's going on in the movie of like, wait, did I accidentally restart the movie again? Why are we watching the exact same shot for shot beginning of the movie again? Oh, wait, we're doing it again, but it's wait, what's going on? And then the second time it happens, you're like, oh, he's having premonitions and him waking up was him dreaming the thing. Oh my God, okay. And then like just figuring that all out was fascinating to me. And then realizing that this was the third movie in a in a trilogy, I was like, it's fascinating. I think it's absolutely good bad. I love how obsessed with himself Bo Yadi is. Seemingly thinks he's like a badass cowboy. And probably still tries to get mileage off of the fact that he was the stunt double for Dexter.
He is the lone gunslinger.
He is absolutely. And he's actually made a few other movies, so we're gonna have to check out at least a couple of those. But man, it's and then I loved the little tangential like relation of like, hey, that's where do they film the Pocket Man and Cargo Boy?
We were there.
We were there. Yeah. Oh man, definitely good, bad. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there, get access to bonus content. We'll just have an episode out about
cane toads.
Cane toads, and they're the invasive species of Australia that destroyed an Australian countries or the entire eastern seaboard of Australia.
It destroyed Brisbane, but other places already destroyed anyways.
Yeah. So when we talk about that, I have a podcast called This Film Is That, where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been, I don't know what's after V for Vendetta. It was V for Vendetta and then something else, and I don't know what's
next.
Better
be Frosty the Snowman. I don't know if that's
well, but we're not to Christmas yet. This is the end of November, and I don't think we're doing a specific Thanksgiving related thing. But I don't remember. Oh, no, I do remember. It's Gerald's Game, the Stephen King novel, and the film by the guy who did Midnight Mass and Haunting at Bly Manor and all that. Wow, Mike something. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
That guy. Anyways, Gerald's Game.
It's a Stephen King novel, so it's either going to have to do with like.
So, do you want to know the premise, Kyle? Because this is fun. You don't know what Gerald's Game is.
Know.
I don't know all of it, but
hang on. Let me guess, because it's a Stephen King novel. So it either deals with drug use.
I don't think so.
Okay,
maybe no. I don't know.
In an inanimate object possessed by the soul. Okay,
I don't think so. What I know of the premise is that a couple, and this is like in the trailer, this is like the premise of the movie and the book, I think. A couple struggling in their marriage. They go to they rent like a little cabin out in the middle of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then one night they want to have like, they're trying to spice their relationship up. So they're going to have like kinky sex. So he handcuffs her to the bed, and then he has a heart attack on top of her and dies. And it's about her figuring out how to get out of the situation of being handcuffed to the bed with her dead husband on top of her.
So it's like it's a Stephen King version of a Rose for Emily.
I haven't seen a Rose for Emily, so
it's a short story. Anyway,
short size that. It's and then but it's also it's supposed to be very good. I'm interested to check it out. Right. But that is what we're doing for the second one in November. So also merch. TeePublic, just search for Good, Bad, or Bad, but all of that stuff's in the links below. All that is very good. Thank you. There's something else I was gonna say. Nashville, Tennessee. Kyle, that you didn't look at any of the comments from our last episode?
Yeah, because we thought it was in
not you. I said Nashville, Kentucky like 8,000 times, and we got so many comments that are like, "Hey, you guys know Nashville's in Tennessee,
Brian
right?"
Nashville, Illinois.
I was like, I've been to Nashville, Tennessee like 5 or 6 times, and I kept saying Nashville, Kentucky.
That's
so
great.
I don't, whatever.
I didn't even put 2 and 2.
Yeah, I said you didn't notice that, and I didn't notice. And then as soon as it ended, every comment is like, "Hey, you idiot."
It's okay. It wasn't my mistake.
Anyways, that's gonna do it. As always, keep watching movies, especially
Unearthed, whatever the hell.
Unearthed, the Curse of Nephyths. Fantastic little Arizona movie. I say fantastic. It's obviously terrible, but you know, it's good. It's the premise of the show, Kyle.
Exactly. True auteurs doing their work.
Yeah.